The new car warranty is the most effective sales tool ever invented in America. 3 years, 36,000 miles, and for that window, nothing is your problem. Bulbs, sensors, rattles, a bad transmission, someone else pays. And then the clock runs out, and the second owner inherits a car that was engineered with a very specific assumption baked into it, that somebody else would be paying the bills by the time the expensive parts started failing. These are 6 cars sitting on American used lots right now at prices that look like gifts, where the repair schedule after the warranty is the entire story. We're counting them down, starting with a luxury SUV that turned an air compressor into a $5,000 problem. In 6th place, the Land Rover Range Rover and Range Rover Sport, roughly 2010 through 2016. $15,000 puts you in a vehicle that cost $90,000 new, and that gap exists for a reason the market learned expensively. The air suspension system that gives these trucks their famous ride is a network of compressors, air struts, height sensors, and valve blocks. And every single one of those components has a documented failure history. A compressor runs $1,000 to $1,800 replaced. An individual air strut, $1,200 to $2,000. When multiple parts fail together, which is common because they age together, owners report bills between $4,000 and $6,000 on a $15,000 truck. The supercharged V8 versions add their own chapter. Timing chain guides on some of these engines wear early, and because of how the engine is packaged, the labor is brutal, which turns a parts bill of a few hundred into a repair quote of $4,000 to $6,000. Electrical faults are so common in this era that specialist shops built entire businesses around diagnosing them, and diagnosis alone often runs several $100s before anything gets fixed. Here's the honest framing. These are genuinely capable, genuinely comfortable vehicles, and people who love them accept the cost as the price of admission. But if you're buying at $15,000 because it's all you can spend, you cannot afford the ownership. The rule specialists give: budget $3,000 to $5,000 a year, every year, or don't buy it. There is no version of this truck that is cheap after the warranty. Number 5. The Jeep Cherokee with the 9-speed automatic, roughly 2014 through 2018. This one looks like the sensible family choice at $8,000 to $12,000, and the transmission is why it's priced there. The 9-speed was rushed into a market that wasn't asking for 9 gears, and early versions shipped with software and hardware issues that produced hard shifts, hesitation from a stop, and in some cases, the transmission dropping into limp mode without warning. There were multiple software updates and recalls across the era, which tells you how widely it was reported. The problem for a used buyer is that software updates don't undo mechanical wear. A rebuild or replacement of this transmission runs $3,500 to $5,000, which on a $9,000 Cherokee is the entire value of the vehicle. And the second issue lives in the all-wheel drive versions. The rear drive module and power transfer unit have their own failure reputation, adding $2,000 to $3,000 more if they go. The test drive checklist for this specific car is short and non-negotiable. From a full stop, accelerate gently and feel for hesitation before the car moves. At around 40 miles per hour, hold steady throttle and feel for hunting between gears. Any harsh clunk, any delay, walk away. And ask for the service history, specifically looking for transmission software updates and fluid services. A Cherokee with paperwork is a different vehicle from a Cherokee without it. Number 4. The Mercedes-Benz C-Class and E-Class from roughly 2008 through 2014. $12,000 buys a car that's stickered near 60, with an interior that still feels expensive and a badge that still means something in a parking lot. What the price doesn't tell you is that German luxury cars of this era were engineered around dealer service intervals with dealer labor rates, and the parts prices never came down just because the car got old. The specific costs to expect. Air suspension on the models equipped with it fails the same way it does on the Range Rover, at similar money. The balance shaft issue on certain earlier engines is an engine-out repair running $4,000 to $6,000. Transmission conductor plates and valve body issues run $1,000 to $2,000. And the ordinary maintenance is not ordinary. A brake job with proper parts runs $800 to $1,200. Spark plugs and coils on a V6 can run $500 plus, and even the electronic accessories, window regulators, seat modules, sensors, are hundreds of dollars each because they're Mercedes parts. The pattern owners describe is not one catastrophic failure. It's a steady drip of $400, $600, $900 visits several times a year, forever. Independent Mercedes specialists cut those bills significantly compared to dealers, and finding one before you buy is the single smartest move available. But the honest math is this. A $12,000 Mercedes has roughly the same annual maintenance budget as a $40,000 one, because the parts don't know what you paid. Number 3. The Volkswagen and Audi 2-liter turbo direct injection engines from roughly 2008 through 2014 across the Jetta, GTI, Passat, and A4. $7,000 to $11,000 buys a car that drives better than almost anything else at the price, and that's exactly why people keep buying them and keep getting surprised. Direct injection is the core issue. By spraying fuel directly into the cylinder instead of over the intake valves, carbon builds up on those valves with nothing to wash it away. Left alone, it causes misfires, rough idle, and lost power. The fix is walnut blasting the valves, $400 to $700, and it's a recurring service roughly every 50 to 80,000 miles, not a one-time repair. On top of that, this engine family had documented issues with timing chain tensioners on certain years, where failure can allow the chain to jump and destroy the engine. A repair quoted at $3,000 to $5,000, or a replacement engine. Water pumps and thermostat housings on these are plastic, and they leak, at $600 to $1,000. None of that makes these bad cars, and enthusiast owners who know the schedule run them for years happily. But that's the divide. This is a car that punishes the owner who expected Toyota maintenance. Ask specifically whether the timing chain tensioner was updated and whether the valves have ever been cleaned. If the seller doesn't know either answer, price in $1,500 of catching up. Number 2. The Chrysler Pacifica and Town & Country, roughly 2012 through 2019. And this one hurts, because minivans are bought by people with the least room in the budget for surprises. $8,000 to $14,000 gets a family hauler with stowaway seating and every convenience feature, and the electrical architecture underneath it is the problem. The recurring themes in independent shops. The TIPM, the integrated power module that acts as the vehicle's electrical brain, causing no starts, fuel pumps running after shutdown, and phantom faults at $1,000 to $1,400 plus diagnosis. Sliding door motors and tracks failing at $600 to $1,000 per door. On the hybrid versions, there were recalls related to the battery system, and the 9-speed transmission that appeared in later models brings the same reputation it brought to the Cherokee. There's a specific ownership trap here worth naming. Minivan buyers keep these vehicles longer than average, hauling kids for a decade, which means these failures tend to arrive exactly when the family has the least flexibility to deal with them. The buying rule. On any test drive, cycle every single sliding door and the liftgate 3 times, run every window, and start the vehicle 3 separate times after letting it sit. Electrical gremlins hide from short test drives. Make it prove itself. And in first place, the modern turbocharged 3-cylinder and small displacement 4-cylinder engines found across a range of compact cars from roughly 2014 onward. I'm putting a category here instead of one model because this is the trap that's still being set right now on lots across America, and most buyers don't see it coming. The engineering logic was fuel economy regulation. Take a tiny engine, add a turbocharger, and get the power of something bigger while testing well on the efficiency cycle. On paper it works. In the real world, that small engine is running under boost for most of its life, which means heat and pressure that a naturally aspirated engine never sees. The turbocharger itself is a wear item at $1,100 to $2,000 replaced. Many of these use a timing belt, and here's the detail that catches people. Some designs run the belt inside the engine, submerged in oil, and when that belt degrades, the debris can clog the oil pickup and starve the engine. That's a catastrophic failure, and the belt service itself is a $1,000 to $1,800 job that many second owners never learn about because it isn't on the schedule they were handed. Add carbon buildup from direct injection, plastic coolant components under thermal stress, and the fact that these engines are commonly paired with dual clutch or continuously variable transmissions, and you have a car that is genuinely cheap to run for the first 3 years and genuinely expensive after that. The rule is simple, and it applies to every one of these. Find out whether the engine uses a wet belt, when it was last done, and what the interval is. If nobody can answer that, the price on the windshield is not the price of the car. Look at the pattern across all 6. Every single one was engineered to be excellent inside the warranty window and expensive outside of it. Air suspension instead of springs, 9 gears instead of 6, a turbo on a tiny engine instead of a bigger engine, a belt inside the oil instead of a chain outside it. Each of those choices bought something real, and each one moved the cost onto whoever owns the car in year 5. That's you if you buy carelessly. The good news is the reverse exists, and we've covered it. Cars where the boring choice was made every single time, and they just refuse to die. Both of those countdowns are on your screen right now. And tell me in the comments, what's the most expensive repair bill you've ever been handed, and on what car? I read all of them, and the worst one might open the next video.